Good morning, beautiful people of the internet, and welcome once more to our Sunday special live. I would say joined as always by blah, 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 but we have a guest. We have Jess Macaulay. For those who don't know Jess is co-host of Partners in Property London, and she is taking place of Adam today, which we all see as an absolute physical upgrade. We have Helen, who is looking fantastic as always, and Piotr with his big smiles, and I have no idea what we're talking about today. So this is going to be a real magical hour.
None of us do.
None of us do. Okay, good. It's not just me. I'm literally just recovering from a wedding last night, so I can just about figure out my own name. So what are we talking about? Who wants to go first? Jess, do you want to introduce yourself? Do a full flowery intro?
Yeah, sure. Definitely can do. Yeah, so I co-host London Pitt Partners in Property, which obviously Adam founded with Sue. Sue Sims is my co-host. But I guess my background's quite broad because I'm really a scientist by background. I've got chemistry background, been a management consultant, but I've been in property full time for about 3 years and started in probably 2007. So I invest in loads of different bits and bobs. Love property and love hearing about other people's deals and projects that they're involved in. Most of my stock is, I do a bit of everything really. I always say I do everything as long as it's not HMO. No offense to people who do HMOs, but that's not my gravy. So a bit of everything. I'm a pension investor, multi-unit blocks, regulated tenancies, anything weird and wacky, it's my bag. So yeah, love being in property and love being around property people.
And Jess is a property sister too. That's how we met.
Very true. Yeah, it is, Helen, isn't it?
Really good. And I'm speaking at the event, right? Not speaking on the panel.
Yeah, you are actually. It's a couple of weeks' time, isn't it? I think it's the 14th of September. We've actually got a kind of an auctions focus next month. So last month we had sort of a member focus. So we're talking about some of the deals and projects that our members have been working on in London. But yeah, I think a lot of people at the moment are shifting what they're doing. It's quite interesting in the sector. They may be like reassessing because deals just aren't stacking in the same way. So a lot of people are looking at trading or just not holding stock in quite the same way that they've done before, or they're looking more critically at, development projects or whatever. So we've got obviously Piotr, you're coming, and who else have we got? We've got EIG and we've got auctioneers.
Right? And
exactly. Yeah,
and we would be there, wouldn't we, Jay? But we are doing the Property Investor Awards judging that day, which shame it clashes, but
yeah,
be good though. I think, won't it? The judging must be the best bit.
Yeah, I'm super nosy, so I just like having a look around all the stuff that they've built or made or done. I'm just like, oh, that's nice. It's normally a good day. But we said, Helen, are you in London for that? Or are you doing it? You're doing it via Zoom?
To be confirmed. Flights aren't booked yet, but I'm hoping to be there. Let's put it that way. I do have to be back the week after because the week after is the Women in Construction Awards ceremony. So I'm definitely back then, and I'm just trying to work out logistics for the week before at the moment. So
be good. Smells like a party to me.
And for those who don't know, Jess, kind of explain the format of a Partners in Property Day.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. Most of the people in the room are either doing property as a side hustle or they're doing it full time. So I think that's probably the sort of first differentiator, is that everyone's fairly serious about what they're doing or where they want to be in property. And the format is typically we have sort of keynote speakers or a panel, and it will be something that's, topical to the sector. It might be someone coming in and talking about what's happening. Like I say, we're doing auctions this month, but we've had pensions people talking about SAS and SIP or VAT or construction. So in the morning, it's kind of keynote speakers and panels, and then in the afternoon, we do these round tables, which is quite nice because not everyone's confident enough to ask questions to the whole room. So it's an opportunity for you to then speak to people one-on-one and network with our speakers or with our panelists. So it's a really friendly group, and I think you know, the reason that I am involved in it is just because I think a lot of us share the same sentiment of Sue and Adam, which is that so many people get shafted in property, or so many people have had bad experiences, and there's loads of kind of knowledge in the room really in terms of people have been there, done it, lost money, like deals have gone wrong, everyone kind of comes together through pain, don't they? But actually it's knowledge and experience. So yeah, it's a really friendly group, and that's definitely sort of why I've got involved in it, and I love it. Yeah, it's good group. Really
it is really friendly, and actually I find people are like very generous with their time, generous with their knowledge, and really, it's like you say, like want to help other people. It's a different vibe from other kind of meetings that I've been to, and what I love is that you're not constantly being sold to, which just turns me right off.
Oh yeah, totally agree. Yeah, and I think that's what's nice about it. People kind of you get so much time with the founders or with speakers and things. Like we had Ben Beadle come up not that long ago. I mean, I think it's a really big deal for someone like that to sort of come in and speak, and you just gave everyone a lot of time. So yeah, it's a fab group. It's one of the only ones that obviously I have to be part of it, but it's one of the only ones that I do, and I don't think I found many like it. So it's a good crew.
And if people want to join, how can they join?
Can pop a link below, but just shoot me a DM or something, or if just go to our website and just join up for the London chapter. But I can always pop some details in if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
we'll
good.
include the link on that. Interesting comment from Dominic. People's brilliant. Who found people on the venue?
Who indeed? Oh God, what genius came up with that place?
I wonder.
God, Dom, Jesus, don't give him a big head on he'll fall over.
Did Dom? I don't know the answer. Was it Dom?
No, it was Piotr.
No.
Oh, it was Piotr. Oh.
Yeah, so pre-COVID, it was me and Piotr, well, mainly Piotr as host and co-host of PIP. And it was Piotr that found the venue, but it's why we all get on so well. We all love the community, we love the people, all that kind of jazz. So yeah.
Actually, that's why I joined, because of you two.
Oh, Helen.
Amazing, very good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it because Andrew Brown and David Leary are always like good fun to be around, and they're quite knowledgeable with sort of like the access they have to all kind of information, especially with guys it's like EIG. They just produce so much data on auctions, and they see things in the real time. So it will be really good, and I'm pretty sure Ivana's going to be there.
Yeah, definitely.
Always.
Nice to see you too.
The best team member. Who found Ivana?
Look what you started, Dominic. That's it now. It's going to be the praise Piotr party for the rest of the morning.
Sunday, come on.
Let's take the book with him.
Oh, God almighty.
Oh, I'm joking.
So, Jess, you were saying earlier on that people are saying it's harder and harder to do deals. Those are your kind of conversations that you're having with people in general, with members and stuff like that. Kind of, what are the pain points that you're hearing most?
Cost of finance, I suppose, is the main one. I think it's just it's a kind of combination of like people's desire to take the risk associated with purchases at the moment, because do you really want to take on a planning risk at the moment? Probably not. Or do you want to take on the construction risk? Again, you've got to really factor that into your deal and to the project. So I think a lot of what we're hearing in the room is kind of not just in PIP, I mean, sort of across other communities as well, as how to step forward, because things are different. And obviously it's changed over the last sort of year or so. It's not like a new thing, but it's not getting any easier. And things that worked this time last year aren't working now. Don't know if anyone's trying to sell anything at the moment, but it is pretty tricky to sort of get people in the door when things aren't, they're still punchy prices. So I think, the main thing that I'm hearing at the moment is, how do I step forward, or where do I step forward if I've always done HMO? You know, we've got additional licensing and things like that coming in at the moment. What are we going to do? So it's I think this autumn will be quite a strategic point for a few people, where they're sort of looking and listening, or maybe they've been looking and listening, and now people are going to start sort of jumping off and making purchases and making more strategic decisions.
Brilliant. This last week I went to this. I'm part of this business club in Lisbon, and the presenter was talking about. It was a guy from a fund, and they buy shopping centers, but the kind of shopping centers that there's not that many of them in the UK, because they're mostly like, the thing that they buy is like kind of shopping centers with car parks, and kind of every tenant has their own kind of building. It's kind of like complexes. And they were talking about how everything kind of has changed since the interest rates started increasing, and how they have to adapt their strategy to basically what the market is doing. And he was showing the graphs of how the yields have changed in this kind of market. He said before people were looking at 5.5% yields. Now they want like 8%, 8.5%, and that's a huge, massive difference.
Yeah.
And that's all because of the cost of borrowing. So changes.
Well, it feels like a bit of an artificial deflate, though, doesn't it? Because you look at a percentage yields change like that either really affects the yield rental curve, or it really affects the cap value.
Yeah.
And you find, like Jess was saying, you know, it becomes tricky just trying to sell, because if you've got like a premier bit of equipment, really nice property, maybe it's mixed use or something like that, and the yield is 6% on like a 15-year FRI, and it looks very attractive most of the time. You're looking at it now and you think, well, actually, you know, you could pick those up at like 4 or 5%. Now you're looking at 7-8%. And what that does to the cap value is huge. And there are some people that are just so leveraged that they cannot get off their current product onto another product without being in severe negative cash flow.
Yeah, commercial lending is not something that I'd want to be going out and getting right now. I think it's tough enough with resi, some of the resi stuff that we're looking at, but it is expensive and also just hard to get, isn't it? So certainly what we're hearing, again, we work with sort of some brokers through PIP, and it's a really challenging time. There's obviously some more dynamic lenders that are sort of looking at things and are going to maybe disrupt a bit, or are disrupting a bit. They're sort of looking at the riskier stock to leverage. Some really interesting things that they're lending against at the moment. And I think for some of the people that are quick to find the niche there in terms of sort of the risk, the lending, and that before lots of people know about it, I think there'll be some opportunities there. But it's difficult for it to stack. It's difficult to get the cash. It's just feels quite slow at the moment. I don't know. For me, it feels a little bit about like that weird time between Christmas and New Year where
nothing really
don't know what's happening.
Limbo.
Yeah, exactly. Property is quite slow though, isn't it? So I suppose that's a benefit to us because we get to think about whether which path you want to take. You've got time to sort of assess those risks and those projects in a different way. So that's quite a positive thing. It's not like it sort of changes overnight and you can't move from it. But equally, it doesn't feel like anything sort of rapidly happening at the moment. It just feels quite like everyone is on some holidays kind of thing.
I wonder what
Helen.
kind of I wonder what kind of things people move into with their strategies and stuff. Because I hear a lot of people go into like serviced accommodation, and which is a lucrative market right now because the prices of like short-term lets like just going through the roof. But I wonder what else people are moving into that is. What you guys hear, like people moving from developments to what, buy-to-lets to what?
I think you're right. I think there's definitely kind of yield chasing, and obviously service accommodation does that, but it's a very different model. It's a very different business to if you're a kind of like a standard developer, and developing is what you do, or trading. If you're an auctions trader, trading what you do. Like with service accommodation, there's a whole kind of operational, you know, kind of juggernaut, I guess, that needs to be behind that to manage it and run it well. Unless you're going to do like one-off specific, you know, kind of, yeah, just one-offs where, I mean, that's just, then you're not benefiting from economies of scale, or then it's just, yeah, I think a disproportionate misuse of time. So I'm definitely seeing, like, hearing a lot more caution with people, particularly developers, you know, and especially around timeframes. We all know timeframes extend, but with the interest rates and the cost implications of that, then that's, yeah, certainly meaning a lot more kind of analysis and thought before leaping into things.
It has to be like a procedural nightmare, right? If you keep flip-flopping between strategy X, strategy Y, strategy Z, it's going to come a time, you know, because some people know how to build fast and scale fast and portfolio builders and stuff like that. So they'll take the skill set they have on whatever they've been doing and they'll apply it to the new thing. And I think that scares me. That's kind of like I can see the fractures, and I'm like, I don't want any part of anything crazy like that, which is probably why we're quite boring. We just stick with whether it's a hot or cold market or lukewarm. We're in auctions.
Yeah, but I think that's good because you can rinse and repeat it because you know it. You get really great at one thing. I think it concerns me. I know Ad said the other day that, you know, the rent-to-rent market could be possibly interesting. And I think if you're an experienced investor, then possibly there's some really good opportunities there. But also, you know, we heard about some deals last month where that had gone not the way that, the person had wanted it to go from a sort of returns perspective. And I also think in the short-term lettings market, don't get me wrong, there's some people out there that are doing absolutely unreal things in SA. I've got some units on the South Coast, and I have found this year has been very last minute bookings. Beginning of the year was pretty horrific. It's the worst that I've seen since we've had SA. It's picked up now, but again, it depends who you're marketing to. You know, are you with contractors? Are you with holiday lets? Or are you working with an insurance partner? That's where all of us want to be working with. But it's difficult, and it's learning and honing your sort of craft within property. And you're right, if you're chopping and changing too much, you're just never going to get that benefit of experience. So it's tricky out there at the moment, but just look at the figures. That was sort of the key thing that came out of some of our talks last month, is that things look like shiny pennies, but the reality of it is when you actually crunch the numbers, you know, sometimes when rents are so high at the moment with SA, depending on where you're doing it, your buy-to-let rents could be a couple £100 difference, and for the hassle, is it worth it?
Yeah.
No, like.
Yeah.
And always with SA, what's in the back of my mind is the kind of the risk of it. You have committed to, you have now fixed outgoings.
Oh, completely.
You're here, and you don't know what your income is. It could be here. You hope it's here. You plan for here, but what if it's here? Because you've got this commitment. So it's fixed out. It's fixed costs, but variable income, and it's like that risk kind of scares me. Unless, as you say, you nail your niche, and you know, I think we can often talk, I mean, property in very generic terms. Rod always says it about London. There's no London market. Like, what do you mean? Do you mean prime central London? Do you mean the outskirts? What do you mean? It's the same for serviced accommodation. What do you mean? Do you mean holiday let in a seaside town on the South Coast? Do you mean, central London or somewhere where, I don't know, near a building site? Do you mean somewhere near a hospital where there's ongoing demand from workers there? You have to have, it is the same as in kind of development. You have to have the right product for the right markets. And that's the critical piece.
100%. Yeah, exactly. And then testing it against those numbers. I think that's, that's the challenge. Maybe you've done it for a holiday let market and the nightly rate's £200, but actually you've got contractors and they can spend £20 each a night and they want to bundle in together. It's It's so challenging to get it right. But at the same time, like I say, there's people who are doing things like that on a rent-to-rent basis, and they're storming forward at the moment. So there are major opportunities as well. So it's interesting, but just think with all of that stuff, don't believe the hype, or like look into the hype and check the numbers, because it's been a good year this year, I think, but it's not been sort of a constant year from that side of things. It's been tougher than we thought it would be. And I've got some units where I'm looking at the numbers now to assess whether or not we'll put them as buy-to-let or as SA, because it's competitive out there, I would say, at the moment in certain locations.
Interesting.
It's important to keep reassessing the figures on the investments, right? That's stuff that people only really look at like the beginning or the end of a tenancy, or when they're getting a new kind of loan agreed or a new mortgage or whatever. But it's important to keep that reassessing, especially when the market gets quite sticky like it is now.
Definitely. Actually, that's a funny one that we did recently. With the pension investments, like where they're sort of like, I don't know, industrial assets or things like that, you wouldn't necessarily get them valued as regularly as you would resi with mortgages and lending and things. And I did that recently with some of the portfolio, and actually sort of created quite a lot of equity that I wasn't expecting, because the yield had gone up so much and things. So you're so right to keep assessing sort of where you are and what the balance sheet is, because it can create a nice sort of pocket of cash then to be reinvested. Definitely.
So Helen, how are you finding August? August is normally your month of silence and retreat and sleep and no work. Are people still chasing you down? Are you still getting propositioned for deals? Like, has the makeup of those things changed much, or is it still the same kind of stuff?
I don't know, because I've not read them. Yes, I'm still getting messages, but if anybody's watched my social media where there is none other than like fun things that I'm doing, I'm not. So I know, I'm sorry. I can see Andrew has made comments of that. Andrew, I'm sorry. I will get back to you. I'm not ignoring you, but I don't do August. So no, I'm loving it. I was at a painting class last night, and I was at a music thing last week, and it's my take advantage of everybody else generally taking a step back, and take a step back. I've got to tell you, I am loving not having to do or think or manage social media. Oh my God, honestly. In fact, I had a thought yesterday, and I'm like, oh, because ideas for posts and things come to me all the time. Like, we should do that, which has been great this month. That's calmed down, but something occurred to me yesterday, and I was like, oh my God, it's nearly September. We've got to get back into thinking and planning this. And I do actually plan it all out. I do make it easier for myself. But still, I've been loving not having that pressure and that constant, what do we post today? What's coming up today? So, yeah. Can it be August, everyone?
It's a lot, isn't it? Social media, I do find my background's marketing as well, and I think it's such a lot to take on, especially in this kind of field, because obviously everyone, it's important to sort of put yourself out there and things, but it is a lot, and it takes up such a lot of brain capacity, I think, with all of that.
It really
to document
does.
it.
But I also think actually taking some time and some space out, and actually I had a very with one of your friends, guys, Mo. Was over in Gozo for a week. So I had an unexpected kind of week off in Gozo, which if you think Malta's quiet, Gozo makes it look like, God, Ibiza. And that was honestly just heaven, not honestly even having much kind of phone reception. It was absolutely lovely. Mm-hmm. And what I'd kind of forgotten from actually taking a block of time off is that frees up headspace for other things to come in, for creativity about other stuff you want to do, rather than just thinking work. Actually, I won't say too much, but there's some stuff coming up, actually opportunities for me here in Malta now, which I am beyond excited about.
Wow.
Yeah, really,
Wow. Really cool.
Really cool stuff. So
You're
yeah,
gonna do service accommodation in Malta.
not that
You're
exciting.
opening your own hotel. What's going on?
Well, so yeah, and I just don't think maybe that stuff would have popped up if I hadn't kind of like given myself space to breathe, or somebody hadn't given me the opportunity. Thank you, Mo and Graham, to do that. So yeah.
So did Mo achieve her goal? Is she buying a hat for a wedding? Is she introduced you to Mr. Helen Chorley? She's a fixer-upper, is Mo. She can't help herself.
She is. She's working on it for me, bless her.
Yeah.
Bless her. No hat required just yet.
Not yet. Oh God. Okay.
Bless her. No, it was a lovely week though. Lovely group of people. And I've met other people that live in Malta through that group. So yeah, it's really cool.
Really good. We need to repeat that Malta trip again. Right.
Oh yeah.
Can I come this time?
Sure, we have a space spare for you, Jess. I'm sure we can make that happen. It's possible.
Oh, we do. Let's plan that.
I think we just won't invite Dominic if he's still listening. That will rile him up a little bit. Yeah, Dominic, we replaced the space. Yeah.
Actually, I have a house full in September, so let's not make it September. I've got my cousin coming over, then my brother and his wife coming over. So yeah, let's leave it till after that. But then, yes, you're welcome.
Okay, this is sounding real. This is Helen talking about actual dates.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
we're creating social media content, Helen. That's really what it is, isn't it? So, our thumbs on. Love that. I know.
Brilliant. Are there any interesting news from the housing, politics, anything economical you guys want to share?
I thought it was quite interesting. It's only just a sort of little thing, but I thought it was quite interesting this week that the NRLA have announced Michael Gove is going to be their keynote at their conference in October. So I think that's on the 24th of October. And we've had Ben Beadle speak at PIP before. He gave us some of his time, which was like massively appreciated. He's very sort of candid. And yeah, I think, you know, regardless of what you think of Michael Gove, it's I just think it's quite exciting that we're getting that level of interaction with government. I don't think we've had that before. So yeah, hopefully they'll start listening to the PRS in a bit of a better way. So that's definitely been a hook for me. I'm booking my ticket now, and I probably wasn't sure before, but it'd be interesting.
That is quite a coup, really, isn't it? It's really. Yeah. I'm slightly worried for the venue, how they're going to clean up the rotten tomatoes have been thrown at but not my problem.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I think it's quite a big gig to do in terms of like being a person to come in and do that. I was in a local like additional licensing meeting the other day for HMOs and converted flats, and the council were there, and I'm sure there's a few people that are listening that were in or on that in that meeting, and I just really felt for the lady that was in there. You know, it's and it'll be the same for him, I imagine, at the conference. It's not a position I'd want to be taking. It's certainly not questions I'd want to be answering. So fair enough if he does turn up.
Yeah, that is not going to be an easy gig, bless.
No, exactly.
I mean, I'd go just to see if any of the property trainers we know turn up and get attacked again, because I missed it. I missed it. I mean, that's talking about rotten tomatoes. Yeah, I'll take popcorn with me just to see who gets a good dig in and see if that humbles anybody. It probably won't, knowing that bunch.
They were quite sly, I thought, how they did that, actually, because they caught a couple of PIP members, I won't name names, as well on telly, where they were sort of just asking sort of general questions, and then later you realise exactly who they were media for and sort of how it was then positioned. So it was a bit sneaky, I thought.
It was very sneaky, like nasty journalisty tactics. It was not nice at all. And you could. It was like watching literally a car crash, wasn't it? It's like, oh, you can see where they're leading them. No,
Exactly.
stop, back away. And you're like, oh
No.
God, you walked
I know.
right into that one. But yeah, it was mean.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that's what, again, like, whilst you've been involved in it for a while, I don't think directly we've sort of seen that level of interaction for a little while again. It just feels like lots of mud's being chucked at, I mean, it's always being chucked at landlords, isn't it? But it just feels like the dynamics changed a little bit again, which is sad. But it would be good. Like I say, I'm definitely going to head up to that conference and support it, because I think the guys and girls there are doing really good stuff. So definitely be heading up in October to see what people have got to say there.
24th of October, did you say that was?
Yeah, I think it's in Birmingham, actually. Yeah.
Oh, I feel a big night out with Mr. Lawrence coming on after that.
I don't know. I think it might
dangerous.
be. Yeah, I feel like that's maybe when they're doing their consultancy week this year. Possibly,
right,
possibly not. I don't know. Might be just after, but yeah, it could be trouble.
Yeah, I feel like September is gonna be like, I think people from end of next week will actually start coming back to the desks and actually doing things. And I know how it was for you, but last 2 weeks was super quiet. It's like literally we were scratching our head and like, what we're gonna do with to generate stuff, because no one was picking up the phones, no one was doing really anything. But sounds like there will be a lot happening soon.
Definitely. You've got all the big auctions, like September auctions coming up too, haven't you? So there's some exciting stuff that's just been released. I've been looking through some of that. It's
there's about 5 or 6 like really big catalogs. There's about 1,000 properties offered in the next 2 weeks. So
what dates are those?
12th, 13th of September. There's a Savills auction next week as well, of like 250 lots.
Oh, Jay, you've got a really busy week, that middle of the week, haven't you? Jesus.
I mean, well, this month, Savills have 2 auctions, right, Piotr? They've got one at the start of the month and one at the end of the month.
Well, they go crazy because they have like an auction every 3 weeks until the end of the year. So the 1st, the 20th, then I think like 10th of October, and then it's like super intense.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back 4 years, they were doing 6, 7 auctions a year, and then they're out. They've really pumped up their activity, and they're keeping decent catalogue numbers, which is a fear for an auctioneer. An auctioneer is doing 7 catalogues a year, and they've got 150 lots. They think if they're going to shoehorn in an 8th auction, that the number of lots per catalogue is going to drop. But it's one of those, build it and they'll come. And they've just put the dates together and people are just sticking the stock in. But it's in the kind of marketplace now where the number of lots per catalogue has gone up by 20%, but the sales haven't moved in the same direction. So to keep a big catalogue at the moment isn't too hard if you've got a reputation and you're selling some stuff. But actually getting the stuff sold, that's the tricky part. And that probably harkens back to what Jess said towards the beginning. Marginal deals are really not working at the moment. People aren't thinking beyond the next rate rise, which is middle of September. Because normally people go, okay, well, the price isn't fantastic, but with capital depreciation and a decent yield, in 2 years' time, this deal's in the green, and then I'll hold it for 300 years and everything will be hunky-dory. But with all, I think a lot of landlords have gone through like this whole trauma response every time there's a rate rise. They like the rate rise is about to happen. They'll go, right, quickly, let's sell off all the underperforming stock. It doesn't sell. Then they're like, okay, well, let's buy stuff. And then they're like, okay, well, I can't make the deal stack. And it's just a cycle of self-abuse. So go back to the days where everyone hated second-hand car salesmen and solicitors and not landlords, right? But I don't think it's that easy. I think it's
Right, Dominic posted a comment. What just touched on earlier on regarding referring to new finance products is interesting. It opens up opportunities that would otherwise be disqualified when looking for an auction catalog. For example, less than 35 square meter flats, flats above hairdressers, hot food shops, finance for short leases. It's not sure exactly what this was referring to, but
I think he's pointing to
some of the lending products we've been talking about in the room at the moment. I think, exactly. I think if you're quick off the mark at the moment, there's some really dynamic lenders out there. If you've got a good broker you're working with, and I think the people that move quickly with those, there's just going to be massive opportunities. And it's interesting. I mean, how many times have you looked at deals and thought, oh, that sounds good, but I don't know, something like hot food shops has been an issue, or a weird staircase at the back of like a mixed use thing that the lender isn't happy with. And I think there are a few sort of more dynamic lenders at the moment who will consider things because the market's a bit slow and they've got the opportunity to do that. So I think some people will do a very nice rinse and repeat for the next 6-9 months and hopefully make them do well.
I mean, the interesting thing with that, Jess, is that these lenders have always been there, but they've just been too expensive in the past.
Yes,
those lenders haven't really changed their rates, but the rest of the market has just kind of gone up to roughly where they are. So now when you're looking at deals and you're thinking, how do I make this feasible? And you're looking at all these costs. Well, these aggressive kind of disruptor style finance companies are now looking reasonable. And they're happy to take on, the stuff that Dom had mentioned. Some of it's stuff you can solve or fix, like the short lease flats. If you own the whole building on the commercial with the hot food, you can get in a different tenant, which then changes, it makes the finance easier. But you just have to be really very you've got to be very, very I can't even think of the word. That's what too many gin and tonics will do for you. I thought I was doing quite well, and now it's right on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of the bloody word. Somebody rescue me. Say something else.
I think you've got an opportunity to be dynamic at the moment, haven't you?
Dynamic, yes. Oh, that's a good word.
Oh, this is a privilege for me to not be the one that's hungover. Funny. I think there's lots of interesting stuff coming up, and that's what's exciting. I feel really excited for the autumn, and I think lots of very savvy investors have been getting their house in order over the last few months, and are buying or are about to buy, or about to do sort of big things. So should be really interesting to see what comes back into like all the rooms that we're part of in terms of deals that are getting over the line, sort of hear what people are doing. So I think it's going to be some very interesting stuff happening.
Brilliant. I think we'll slowly wrap up this chat for today. We'll do is I'll post some links to Pick London and the meeting happening. It's on the 14th of September, right?
September,
second Thursday of the month.
Because we've got the boardroom on the Friday, Piotr. That's how it's easy to remember that date.
Yes. Another interesting venue that someone found. It's got amazing rooftop.
Guy, you keep talking like that, Helen might book a flight. You don't know.
It is amazing, Helen. You should. It's a great venue. In fact, not good, great.
Brilliant. Anything else before we wrap up? And I think from next week, Adam is back, right?
Yes, in the air today, so couldn't join us. Just tell us about like your boardroom meetings. What happens on those days, chaps?
So the boardroom days are just like an addition to our Auction Buyers Club kind of offering, because with an Auction Buyers Club, we've got weekly Zoom calls. Actually, twice a week we've got a Zoom call where we're reviewing deals and opportunities. But there wasn't really many opportunities for like social meetings. So we organized some dinners, but then from the dinners, we're like, actually, people want to do a little bit more than just chat and have dinner. And we thought, why don't we put like a boardroom day? And basically those boardroom days became quite popular because people get to meet, we go invite guests, and we keep reviewing deals, we keep organizing fun things. So last quarter, we do it every quarter, and last quarter we had like drinks with auctioneers. I think we had several auctioneers join us, stay really long hours with us. And we had really good fun. And we get about 20 people. Those we invite some special guests, like Jess joined us once. What else would you add, Jay?
It's a really nice lunch. I tried to be food focused, but the lunch is really nice, and it's the venue is really good. It's like just a giant boardroom table, and then you enter out into the rooftop. So there's loads of little nooks and crannies for people to like go off and have chats and network and socialize, and it's good for the people in the club who normally just see each other on Zooms twice a week to actually have a little chat, talk about the project, because we always do like, someone in the club only on Friday posts, I'm selling this property, I've just bought this one with the help of X, Y, and Z. So she'll be sharing her stories with us on Tuesday morning. And it's just really good when people are doing deals and you're going through what people have done. And it's a bit of a micro community, but it's really nice to see people, really, really nice to see people connecting. It's a really valuable day for us.
So agree. Yeah, I mean, I've been to one, and I think the people in the room are so solid, like in terms of their capabilities in property, and also very humble. Chatting to someone, and then they tell you about which development project they're doing, and you think, flipping heck, like that's a whopper. So it's a really good bunch of people to sort of connect with and network with. And awesome experience and knowledge in the room. I think, we were looking at ChatGPT and stuff, weren't you, Piotr, when I popped up last time, which again, just really interesting and sort of in terms of how that might change property sector. So yeah, it's a very valuable day from a knowledge and a networking perspective, I found.
Did you see Piotr's eyes light up then when you mentioned ChatGPT? Look at his little face. It's like Christmas.
It's a very special relationship.
It is amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, amazing, really good. Okay, well, I think that's it for today. Thank you for entertaining conversation, even with hangover. And thanks everyone for posting the comments and interacting with us. And we'll be back next week with Adam.
Thanks for joining us, Jess.
Thanks for coming, Jess.
Have a lovely weekend, everyone.
Take care. Bye.